Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Home Dad Chat. It's been a little bit of a hiatus with me and Danny over the past couple of weeks, just due to, sickness in the house and kind of that fluctuation into from school to Christmas break and all that fun stuff. But we're back. How you doing, Danny?
Right. That's right. I'm all right, man. I think I've got my influenza, but I think I'll be okay. I'll probably survive.
I feel like I'm right there with you, my friend. We are in that same boat, floating down that same crappy river, I think.
Yep. I got the man cold, but I think I'll be all right. Yeah. No, but
Mine,
I'm doing great actually. I'm really I'm really great overall. I mean, it's been, like I said, with sick and the kids being sick and the wife being sick and everything else going on, but still I'm really excited because Christmas.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Definitely.
I love Christmas.
But you look like you're ready to take on, Apollo Creed or the Russian right now. I mean,
that's right, man.
You came on and I'm like, you got your gloves with your fingers out. I'm like, man, are you like training for a boxing match? Should we not be talking about Fight Club right now?
That's right. I'm coming. Yeah, Eye of the Tiger, man. No.
I mean, you are up in the colder area, so I mean, you could be doing the whole like Russian training thing.
I literally just sitting in my garage because it's 42 degrees in my garage.
But you were chopping wood earlier, though, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I wasn't just freezing like an old man and begging my kids to get me some tea, please.
Well, 42, that's pretty seasonably warm up there in your area, I would think, right about
inside the garage.
Oh, inside the garage. Okay, well,
outside it's 12.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just 12. It's crazy.
Speaking of the temperatures and whatnot, I saw where down here in Cincinnati on Christmas Day, it's supposed to be a high of 67 down here.
Nice.
Stupid. Like a few years ago, it was like that too. And I remember pouring some bourbon, lighting a cigar, and sitting out in the front yard while my kids ran around and played with their new toys. So might be another one of those years.
Yeah. Now, and I'm, have lived in Georgia my whole life, so I'm really used to that. I am loving the change. I'm loving the difference. Like we're, bundling up to do anything. There's snow every couple of days. There's been a couple of fairly heavy snowfalls, but a lot of little days where it's just like an inch or two, which is nothing, of course, around here.
Yeah.
Georgia, we would have shut down the state. I mean, that's, like, what are we doing? I don't know. We wait for it to go away, I guess. It's scary. But I was looking at the forecast for the week. And of course, my kids, I've taught them, the younger ones, 7 and 8. So I've taught them to ask Alexa all the questions that they ask me, because they always ask me the questions like, what time is it? Or is it going to be cold today? Or when's it going to snow? And I'm like, man, I'm going to have to look it up. So you might as well learn to look it up. Right. So
have they figured out how to do the whole Alexa, tell us a fart? Have they done that yet? Do you know that one?
And they won't, sir.
Oh, yeah?
They will not, because all of these things, these types of practical jokes are cyclical, meaning it comes around to get you if you do that to somebody.
Oh, but that's one of the best ones, man. Like I love sitting at my brother's house, and I have nephews that are teenagers, and I asked them that, like, I think it was 2 years ago. We were sitting around in his house. I was like, hey guys, have you ever asked Alexa about farting? And they were like, what? And I was like, hey Alexa, tell us a fart. Oh my God, dude, this is like the funniest thing ever, because it's literally just her going.
No. I assure you, my wife and my wife's family and my kids will love it. I will be appalled, but that doesn't matter. That's all right. So I grew up and we never did that. The F word in my family was fart. Okay. The other one didn't exist. The F word was fart, because you just don't, and nobody, no. Oh, sir, no, not in this house. Yeah. And I get in with my wife's family. They're like, hey, how you doing? Everything doing okay today? I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Well, they waited until I was pretty much, roped in. I was in love with Marnie and it didn't matter.
Yep.
And then they took me on a road trip and tried to kill me.
Hey, it's all good, man.
It's awful.
I'm amazed with the fact that you have teenagers in your house that you haven't gotten to that point. So that's surprising.
Well, I'm going to go see if I can disable it when we're done here.
Good luck.
Just cut that off.
Oh,
Things
man.
You're not allowed to do.
But so speaking about like, family and things like that. I mean, we're in the holiday season. Hanukkah just passed and talking to Ariel about that sounded like his family had a great time and hopefully others did as well. Christmas and Kwanzaa, they kind of all run together. I think there's a couple others I can't remember, but it's just sort of that season and lots of family traditions. I've heard some people who like they had family traditions with their like parents, and then when they got married, like they've had to come up with new traditions because what they married into didn't match. Like there were just things that, like it either didn't match up or it was like nobody could really come up with like a compromise, and so they're like, we're just gonna do our own thing. What's that been like for you guys? Like what traditions do you have and what are you looking forward to for
it's
this
been
weekend?
fun because I grew up, I never celebrated Christmas. So
right, I remember saying that.
30. God, now I'm going to say how old I was, but I was married to Marnie the first time I celebrated Christmas that I remember, like as an adult, and so that was 16 years ago, I guess. And the biggest thing for me was, I never missed it. I never, like walked around thinking, oh, I wish I could have, Christmas, or I wish I could do this. I love the songs. Christmas songs to me were always the best. Just beautiful. This is what I want to hear. This is what I want to sing. This is how I want to sing. So those were something that I really got into really quickly. And we actually got a little electronic piano a couple of years ago as a family gift for all the kids so that we could play Christmas music on it. Still hasn't happened, but I'm sure someday we'll actually learn some songs. But Marnie has a bunch of traditions, and they're the biggest thing that I've learned, and because some of them are stressful, some of them are really difficult, and some of them are like, this year it'll be easy, next year it won't. When you have little kids, getting everybody together to do a picture, which I'm sure, just because being a photographer, and for me too, it's just anything you do with your kids, they're not going to just sit there and happily look all clean and keep their clothes clean or anything else.
And that's the best time about this year is you get cards from people who like they've found like a picture that they want to send out as like their Christmas card, and sometimes they're like great and they've all got it posed, and other times it's like not that way. Like I know for one of our friends, we got a Christmas card that the kids all look like they're there, but then you have the oldest, not the youngest, the oldest, like not looking at the camera at all, like just off in one direction. And then the littlest one is sort of kind of got like a cockeyed view or whatever. And then the middle child or the other two children are like looking straight at the camera like they should. And I looked at my wife and I was just like, what? Look at this picture. And she was like, yeah, it's probably the best one that like David could pick out of all of them.
Yeah. Out of like, I took 20 and this is the one that I thought was passable, right?
Right.
Like a giveaway.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like taking pictures of a toddler. You just keep snapping and then keep go going back and look at all 150 and like, be like, I hope to God one of them, they got their eyes open and they're looking at us.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, she had that tradition. Basically, you get a formal picture taken. And the thing I decided with traditions is I'm absolutely on board with whatever traditions we want to bring into the relationship that work for our family.
Right.
And I'm absolutely okay with any new traditions that we want to pick up that work for our family. Because traditions need to be, of course, the longevity of it is part of it. But another part of it is who your family is, what your family is right now, and what your family is becoming.
Yeah.
Dictates what traditions you're really going to get behind, which ones you're going to do well, which ones you're going to do easily without stressing.
Right. Like when we want the stress. Yeah, like when my wife and I first got married, like Corey and I, we would go to like one of the parents' houses for Christmas. It was like, all right, like 1 year was at one year was the other one. And then when kids got into the factor of it, like when they were little, it wasn't such a big deal. It was like, all right, like let's go to one or the other. Yeah. When they got to the point where it was like they knew what was going on and they were opening up Christmas presents, Corey was like, I want Christmas at our house. And then we can go elsewhere afterwards or whatever, or if we want to go someplace the week before. And so like that's been a thing for us, especially with the fact that like, you know, we both, when we were in our respective hometowns, all the rest of the family was there. So it wasn't uncommon to like get up, open up presents, and then go to like run around that, you know, the day going to grandparents' houses. Can't do that now because grandparents don't live anywhere close to us at all. So like it's a completely different growing up for our kids. But I like it. I like the fact that we've, you know, kind of come up with a, hey, this is how it's going. Like the grandparents are totally cool with it. We know they're going to do their
that's
thing,
good.
and they're fine with it. And sometimes they've even decided like, oh, like there was one Christmas where, you know, they came down and did Christmas together. Actually, there was one year where we were married without any kids, and both sets of parents actually came to us for Christmas, which was really cool for us to be able to celebrate Christmas with them at our apartment and everything. We actually had one big enough at that point.
That's cool.
But I think that, yeah, coming up with your own traditions and also setting up healthy boundaries with your parents and with your in-laws is super important, especially this time of year. I see so often, like in the closed group, where it's like guys are struggling with setting up healthy boundaries with their families. And that's a huge hurdle to overcome if you don't know how to navigate those waters.
Yeah. And it's not just at Christmas at all. I mean, grandparents mean fun. I mean, that's just what it is.
Oh, sure.
You know, you're going to grandma's house, grandpa's house, whatever. You're going to have a cookie if you want a cookie. You're going to stay up late. You're going to do all these things. And yet, that really destroys everything, all the work you've done at home, and you have to start over in some cases.
True. And,
so
and
having
sometimes
that,
it takes having that conversation with them.
Yeah. Just being an adult, because it's difficult for a lot of parents to see their grown kids as adults. You know, I still have, I love Marnie's parents. I mean, they're just amazing. Right. But they still look at me, I feel sometimes like I'm a little kid, you know, and I'm okay with that. I do like she's Marnie's mom is said it was okay for me to call her mom now, which made me cry. And but you know, because my mom's passed, and just who we want to be as family. And so I'm like, you know, I'm okay with her for the most part, thinking that, even though I'm 52, right, and I've made enough mistakes to feel like I know what I'm doing now.
Sure.
You know, and like I will always call her dad, my wife's dad, to ask him about stuff about, you know, Wisconsin, you know, the snowblower as an example. I was not going to buy a snowblower this year. So I thought, well, I'm just going to wait and see, because I didn't know, you know, and
that's like not having sunscreen in Florida, my friend.
Right. Yeah, it is. Well, he said, you know, you might be able to get away with it, but
you might, or you might be calling me like halfway through.
Right. Exactly. He said, you it's there if you can afford it, which we could, because we just sold the house and we did really well. If you can get it, then go ahead and get it, and use the shovel until you're at that point where suddenly you have to get out. You have to be out in 10 minutes. You can't shovel that driveway in 10 minutes, but you can blow it to where you can get out, you know.
Well, that's like, I mean, we don't get a lot of snow down here, but when we do, like, it tends to be like, okay, we're going to get dumped on, and then, you know, have it for a few days. And I always, you know, I'm just kind of ready for it, because it's like, all right, great, I get a shovel or whatever. But kind of a funny thing, David McMillan, he thought that, well, like a snowblower is fine, but a tractor would be so much better, and like ended up getting like a John Deere tractor with a front loader. And he's a very giving man, dude. Like he's like, yeah, last year, he's like, I plowed my driveway. He's like, he just went down the road and just plowed every single person's driveway. And I'm like, that's cool. Like if you've got the ability to, like, that's the one thing I kept telling Corey. I was like, I want a snowblower. She's like, for what? Like, it snows like hard once a year. I go, yeah, but I was like, I can, you know, do everybody's, you know, walkways and the sidewalks and stuff. We have lots of people who walk dogs and stuff. I haven't convinced her yet, but I'm still working on it. But still,
she gets weaker every year, I'm sure.
A little bit. I mean, it's like, I'm just trying to be generous, you know, at the same time as also get something that's got some power.
Yeah, and it's very cool. It is a really, you know, it's hilarious, because the guys were showing me when they brought it, they set it down, and the delivery guys, and they're showing me how to use it, and I was asking as many questions as I could think to ask, because I want to be prepared. Right. And I'm getting, you know, it is about 5-10 minutes, maybe we were talking, and set it down, deliver it. And I'm like, so it's just a tiller. It's just a tiller, you know, and the guy, that's what he said. Yeah, kind of, I guess. And I'm like, but for somebody that's never driven a snowblower, but I've driven a tiller a million times. Yeah. yeah, I got this. I don't think
It's
I'll
like
have
the
any
opposite though, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't go forward.
Well,
It's backwards, isn't it? So like it
well,
pulls it up.
the mechanics of it and everything, like
Yeah.
one's for the wheels and one's for the auger, as they
Right.
call it. So yeah, it's definitely different, but it's so similar to me,
Sure.
and I'm like, yeah, I got this. And it was really, I enjoyed it. I brought it out a couple times and really just, it's electric start. I plug it into the wall and
Nice.
push a button and it starts. And I'm like, yeah, man,
There you
this
go.
is where I
That's-
want to live. And
no
it's
kidding.
got a pull as well, of course, but
And
I'm
then
not
while the
gonna
kids
pull
are
it.
out playing in the front
I don't have
yard,
to.
you can just like turn
Yeah.
the blower towards them.
Man, I nailed him. I nailed James. He didn't know it was. I'm like, James, you get out of the yard. He's like being kind of trying to be funny, kind of sassy. And I just turn the little pulley and the thing's going tick, 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 straight ahead. I'm like, get out of the way. And he's like, what are you gonna blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna told you get out of the way, man.
Heck yeah.
It was
like that
hilarious.
reporter on the side of the road in Pennsylvania that gets blasted by the snowplow as it goes by. That old video from a long time ago. Love that video.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so it sounds like you guys have some pretty good family traditions and things set up, which is really cool.
We're learning.
I mean, I think the one thing for me is like, I mean, I love the fact that you're close to your family and you're going to get to see, you've got to do that for Thanksgiving and things like that. That's the one thing I'm going to miss out on this year is not getting to really like go see my family. Just for us, like one, like I'm still recovering from surgery and driving long distances sucks right now. I'm feeling better, but there's enough soreness. And then two, just with everything going on with Omicron and crap, like, and just the fact that we've been sick for the past couple of weeks, just with like cold, whatever type things. It's still one of those things where it's like better safe than sorry. So that kind of sucks, but
that's where we're at. Honestly, we are planning. The original plan was to go up Christmas Day. Like you said, we have Christmas here at our house.
Yeah.
Open the presents and then go out to, grandma and papa's house, or, one of the in-laws, and spend Christmas Day and another day and have a cousin's meet up after that. And we were talking about it today and like, we've been very sick and Marnie is going to get tested tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't have, COVID.
Right.
She's had her, immunizations and she's had her booster and she should be fine. It's probably just a bad cold.
Right.
But what if? And then do you really just if it's a bad cold, do you want to go and give your family a bad cold? I mean, they've got babies and they've got, her sister's pregnant and it's just I wouldn't want to suffer through this just so that I could see each other for Christmas. So we're still kind of, I understand what you're saying is what I'm trying to say, because we're still kind of trying to decide. Yeah.
It's a sucky situation, but it's, it's one of those deals where it's like, last year we were all like, I hope next year's better. Like this year's better in the fashion of, we have a vaccine, we have boosters, our, the majority of our, age groups can get the vaccine, minus little kids or whatever. But at the same time, and that's been, very minimal on them getting sick, which has been great to see that. But, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, like, hopefully 2022, this, December, things will be at the place where getting together won't be a big scary ordeal. Like things will have settled down by then and whatnot. That's the hope. A year from now, if that's not the case, I'm, going to scratch my head and wonder what's going on and try to figure things out. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that will be, but I have hope that things are better.
Are you going to do a virtual with grandparents then or anything?
So I don't know if we'll do like a virtual, I will call them. So I only have one living grandparent now after the past 3 years. I've lost all but one so far. So I will definitely be calling probably Christmas Eve and talking to them. I'm sure I'll be FaceTiming more than anything with them so that I can talk to my grandma. And probably call her on Christmas Day too, because that way there won't be like tons of people around. It's a little bit easier to talk to her then. It's one of those deals where it's like you just get handed around the room. I had that happen to me when I was in the military too. Like I got handed around the room for Thanksgiving because I was gone. I was in boot camp for Thanksgiving and I got the call. And I just remember getting handed around the room. And there's actually there's a group photo of like everybody. Like they were like, we're gonna do the group photo now, like you're talking about. So if you can imagine like getting like 50 people outside together and my mom is actually, and this was before FaceTime. So like, I'm just on the phone, like, you know, like you can see my name on the screen basically. And like, she's holding it up while, or maybe Corey's holding it up. I'm not sure which, but I'm like in there with the group picture where they're just holding the cell phone up in the air. So very
everybody
memorable.
smile.
Yeah, everybody smile. I'm on the phone. On a payphone.
I'm smiling. Jeez.
Put in $5 more to continue this call. Click.
Yeah. Sheesh.
While having a petty officer down the way scream at you, get off the phone. It's a great Thanksgiving, let me tell you.
That's right.
God. But anyway, yeah, I mean, so yeah, it is what it is. But so we're just kind of looking forward to just spending time together here and doing our own thing. I will say one thing though, that is a tradition that I will get to do that I know will be going on in my home is the making of a thing called Apricot Brandy Slush.
Yes.
So
you mentioned that.
Yeah. So
last year, because I remember.
Yeah. It's like 100-year-old recipe that's been in my family. It's delicious. I've actually shared it with a few people, but that have asked for it. But it's delicious. I mean, it's the perfect for this time of year and everything. And actually, so yesterday I actually got to meet some guys who they actually host a podcast where that's what they talk about is cocktails, and they talk about parenthood. Like, it's really cool. And they're out of Columbus, Ohio. And so they're called the Dad Ass Podcast. And so I got to meet Matt and Sean. They're really cool dudes. But I told them about that recipe too. And they were like, oh my God, like, you got to give that to me. That sounds delicious. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm willing to share it with you. And so I'm hopefully going to get some recipes from him too, because the guys make cocktails for every single episode. And then I'm working with it, but they really are interested in coming on the show and talking parenthood and cocktails with us. And so, and Sean's not a dad. He's actually a family therapist, works in the school system up there in Columbus. And Matt is a dad. He's got a 3-year-old son. And so, yeah, hopefully it all works out. I think like it'll be a couple months off because they're super busy with what they do, but they just happen to be down here actually interviewing one of the local spirit places here in town, talking cocktails with them. And then afterwards they were like, hey, like, we're in the area. You want to do lunch? I'm like, yeah, let's do lunch. And so it was great to just connect with these other two guys and have lunch with them. So yeah, so future episode down the road there, we'll be talking cocktails and parenthood.
I have to say the two go hand in hand in my mind.
I agree.
I hit a point almost every day. And I'm like, okay, is it time for caffeine or alcohol? Where am I at? Do I need to wake up, or do I need to just slow down?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is definitely, it seems, and it's so funny because like, I think it was what they were talking about, like the consumption of alcohol these days is up dramatically just because of the pandemic. I'm like, I think it's just more prevalent because people are at home and it's just a nice little relaxer for some and not for everybody. I mean, we've got our friends who have are sober and have been sober for years, and they've got their own ways of enjoying some just relaxation time too. And so it's kind of a to each their own, and everybody winds down their own way. So hopefully this holiday season, that's the case. Everybody can find a way to just relax and enjoy the time together. And if it's you're having a shitty experience because it's the holidays, that's okay too. Like your feelings, your emotions are they're valid, and if it's tough, for whatever reason, and there's a laundry list of reasons you can name off. Like we've said before, like find somebody to talk to, reach out. Like we said, we've always been open to, reaching out to us here, and the holidays can be tough. And having friends or family to be able to reach out to is super important. So hopefully that's not the case with anyone out there listening, but if it is, know that there are those of us that are in your corner
we're your family.
Right. We're your family for sure. Have you gotten to see any, to kind of switching the subjects, have you gotten to see any movies or like Christmas movies at home that you got to watch that we were listing off from the previous episodes?
We haven't really gotten to watch. We've gotten a few in and out, but not really anything, not like my favorite, Love Actually. I'm still waiting. But something always comes up.
Right.
For the, for the kids, it's always been, for whatever reason, The Nightmare Before Christmas is absolutely their favorite movie right now. And they can't even like sing the songs or recite the lines or anything. They just love the idea of it, I guess. So we've really been playing with that one. I think we've watched that 3 times, maybe 4.
Yeah.
By this point. So
that's cool.
Yeah, they're really into that. So, which is fine. I mean, I like it. It's a great, Tim Burton's he's crazy.
Masterful.
He's crazy, but yeah,
he's masterful.
He's a mad genius, but yeah.
Yeah.
So how about you?
I'm trying to think what we've watched. They've been watching a bunch of different stuff. It's almost a blur, actually. It's been kind of nuts. I know that we've watched Santa Claus. Like we watched like all the claymation stuff, like Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph.
Yeah,
they were watching all that.
Yeah.
So, which actually is kind of funny. I it's interesting the things that get put on YouTube that are like okayed and which aren't okayed, and like there's like a whole like hours of just that kind of stuff like for free on there that somebody put on. And I don't know if like YouTube just doesn't grab the algorithm and found it or whatever, but that's how we watched it. Cause otherwise, like, I think we were going to have to like pay to like rent it. And I'm like, like, I'm just going to check on YouTube for this and end up finding it. Same thing with, I wanted to watch Ghostbusters before going and seeing Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I found like the full Ghostbusters on YouTube. I was like, sweet. But yeah, I mean, so we've watched a few Christmas movies, and I'm sure we'll watch a few more, especially with the fact that the kids haven't been feeling well. We watched we watched A Boy Named Christmas. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen that go by. We haven't.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It's so if you remember the claymation Santa Claus is coming to town with the young Kris Kringle and all that. It sort of plays off of that in a way, but he's even younger. Like he's a boy. Like it's not like he's an adolescent type of deal. He's a boy, and it's a really neat adventure story that they did really well, actually. So definitely worth checking out. I thought it was actually really well done. The kids loved it. So so we watched that, and they had a good time. I'm trying to think, non-Christmas, they watched was it Back to the Outback, I think is what's on Netflix or whatever. The guys from the Dad Ass podcast were talking about it because Netflix had reached out to them and given like their viewers some like previews of getting to watch it before it actually launched or whatever. But it's a really popular one. It's about a whole bunch of like Australian animals, and it's cute. Not my cup of tea, but the kids liked it. I fell asleep during it. I took a nap.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what dads do.
I mean, when you're feeling like crap and all you can do is like lay there, and while the kids are laying there, like just take a nap.
I slept through about half of it's an animated movie called Ron Goes Wrong.
Oh my gosh. I saw that. I was like, I don't know about watching that movie.
Yeah. It's cute. It is really cute. There, again, you take it with a grain of salt because it's a
very dark version of WALL-E.
So, well, it actually went really well, I think. Okay. I mean, there were parts of it that were hilarious. And overall, I think they did it pretty well. There wasn't any overt, terror about it or anything like that. But it was a good buddy movie. It was really a good, let's make friends, let's be friends.
Right.
And kind of a little bit of a push or a kick to being on social media too much. Which I kind of, it's fine. Definitely you can do anything too much. Sure. But I fell asleep, and I was looking around, like, I'm just going to put this on for a minute. I fell asleep, and I woke up, and both of my littles were sitting beside me. They're all curled up and trying to steal my blanket. Again, cause I was sick, and Marnie was passed out, in the bed cause she's very sick. Yeah. And, even the big kids were down there, the 12-year-old and the 15-year-old. 15-year-old was on his phone, but he was in the room, so that was a score, I think.
Yeah.
But I got to see I probably saw 60 to 70% of it, and the rest I was kind of doing checking my eyelids for pinholes,
Yeah.
But that wasn't a Christmas movie at all. So
no, not a Christmas movie. Although one of, as an adult, what will be Christmas to me early will be tomorrow, the 22nd, when HBO launches Matrix Resurrection onto its system to watch, to stream. Like it's coming out in theaters, but if you have HBO Max, you can watch it on there. And I just bought a brand new, wife's company is amazing. Gave amazing bonuses and things like out to their workers because they've been, kicking butt all year long and stuff.
Yeah.
And so
Especially virtual.
yeah. And so my wife was like, yeah, we can upgrade the TV if you want to do that. So I ended up going from a 38 to a 50 inch.
Nice.
And that 38's like 8 years old. So like all new technology.
wow.
I was like, wow, like it was so different.
Yeah.
Like the sound is amazing. Like it bounces off the wall and goes throughout the living room. And it's not a big living room. So like I'll be sitting in the couch, and I can hear it like hit behind me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wild.
That's cool.
But so that's why I'm really excited that I got the TV, because like I'm gonna get to experience it almost in like a movie centric type situation, like in the theater.
Yes.
And that's, I enjoy going to the theater. Don't get me wrong. But if I can stay at home and drink my own beer and eat my own popcorn and pause it whenever I want to go to the bathroom,
that's it.
That is golden opportunity right there for a good night.
Or when the kids interrupt.
Yes.
They always do it.
They always do.
You just back it up. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Or come down in the, when they're asleep.
Yeah.
When they should be asleep.
Yeah. Hi, Dad. No, I don't love anybody right now. I'm watching a movie.
Right.
Gotta go away.
So that's kind of the stuff that's sort of on the cusp of things. And into like, so here's something I'm curious of, because my wife and I have gone back and forth on this, but some years we'll go out of our way to like find Christmas gifts for each other. And then other years, not so much, just depends on what's going on with things. You think about it as an adult, like if you want to buy something special for yourself, like you don't have to wait till Christmas because you hold the money. Like it's not like a kid where they're just like, I really want this, and it's like, all right. What is that like for you and Marnie? Like, do you have one set thing or?
Well, for Christmas this year, we technically agreed not to buy each other presents.
Right.
Because just everything else going on, and we've got everything. Like you said, if we want it, we'll get it. We'll just basically, I'll just put it in the budget. I'll just tell Marnie, hey, I need this thing. It's this amount of money. Can that be this month, next month, or the month after? When do we put it in?
Right.
And so that's really not a big issue. But this year we just, everything else going on. And honestly, I really didn't feel like getting any Christmas presents this year. I've been very depressed for, off and on for weeks, just a day or two at a time. And it's been some difficult, moving and all that. And so I kind of went, let's just not buy presents for each other. That's fine. And she kind of agreed, and she really likes getting presents, and she really likes giving presents too.
Right.
So usually though, like last year and the year before, we've established that one, she doesn't buy me anything unless I give her a list. I have to give her a list every Christmas. And that's the things that I want. Okay. And I did not grow up that way. Of course, I didn't grow up that way at all, but for her, that's the way it was. Well, I give you a list and I get all the things on my list. I'm like, wow, princess, that's pretty impressive. And she's like, well, not everything, but I mean, I'm like, everything. Right. And she said, well, no, I'm like, all right. But for me, I don't need a list for Marnie. I know what she likes. I just see things and know she's going to like them. And I can't stop myself. I mean, even if it's like I bought her a nice fluffy warm pullover in a color that she likes, that she could wear in her office. That's nice enough if she has to get on a call, but it's for those days when she's not planning any calls, and can just be comfy and warm and nice. And she's like, this is amazing. I'm like, well, yeah, it's exactly what you like. I know what you like. And I don't have any issue buying her gifts because I mean, we've been married for 16 years. Come on. But she cannot buy me a gift off list to save her soul. She's the worst. She's just like, well, I thought you liked donkeys. No, what? When did I say that? I don't know. I thought it was nice. It is nice. And I love you. And this is sweet. I'll put it next to the ceramic ashtray that I made my father in the 50s or the 70s. I'd say, he was like, great. I don't smoke, but thanks.
There are some that do have the gift of giving.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever did that, but
yeah. But I mean,
ceramic
there are some that do have the gift of giving, and then there are others who struggle with it.
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah. It's like getting a pair of socks from the grandmother every single time because she doesn't know anything else better to get you.
Yeah. But like with everything, you're just open communication. Just be honest and open about it. And I mean, I've I've tried my best to give Marnie a list every year since we had 1 year where we established this as the rule because bad things happened.
Right.
But, so I'm like, okay, well, here's a list. And, I keep a running, because I'm more of a, ooh, shiny. Ooh, that looks nice. Yeah. Yeah. I like that right now, but I'm not gonna think about it again until I see it again. And then I'm like, ooh, look, yeah, shiny. So I literally have an Amazon list that I put everything on. That's anytime you want to get
that helps. Yep.
just go in there, just anything on there.
That's
it doesn't
what we
matter,
have.
it's been in there for 4 or 5 years. Yeah, I still will probably love it.
Yeah. Well, that's like did I tell you that I got a new pipe a while back?
I think so.
Corey
I remember
bought,
something.
Yeah, she bought me a pipe that had been sitting in the Amazon cart for like over a year. And
Nice.
I still wanted it. I mean, I put it in there for a reason. And she was buying some different things. And like I said, it's like that one deal. It's like she could have bought it and saved it for Christmas, but she like wanted to surprise me with it. So that's it's for me, like you were talking about, like Marnie's not sure like what to get. My wife, Corey, just knows like bourbon and beer, like can't go wrong.
Right. And that's what I told Marnie. Said, Marnie, I'm incredibly simple. I don't take that
Cigars.
like an insult. I don't mean that. Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
Give me scotch or a cigar. Yeah, I'm fine. Or maybe a book if because I really like books, but I'm kind of eclectic in what I would read or what I wouldn't. But realistically, hey, I got you a steak dinner. Oh, I love steak dinners. Let's go. That would be great. And it would make me happy. Right.
Well, it's like,
don't think about it.
You and I, we both do the shopping in our families, and a lot of stay-at-home dads do. And I recently, we got a Costco membership about a year ago, and I started noticing that like they have books, like all these books in there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like looking around, and there was one time that Corey actually came with me. We went shopping because I think she was I don't know if we took the kids or not. I forget what it was, but anyway, we realized like there were these books here, and she was looking around and reading through them. She's like, "Oh, I like these. Like, I would read these." And I'm like, "That's cool. Okay." It was like, so the next time like I went, I actually like grabbed a couple of them for her and brought them home and like surprised her like as part of like what I was shopping for, and like slid them over to her. She's like, "Oh," and then realized like they were like the middle portion of like a series. So then she had to go track down the rest. I'm like, shit, it's like, all right,
the first one.
Yeah. So then it's like, all right, it was a combination of, can I find it in the library or can I find it somewhere else? And it's like, it wasn't in the library. She ended up having to find them on like Amazon, but they weren't that expensive anyways. And that kind of thing. Good. So, but it's just that it comes down to those, when you're out with your spouse, your partner, and you hear them mention something, if it's something that they're truly passionate, like you said, like you could mention something and it's not something you're like passionate about, like, oh, that's cool. It's not really something I want. Like, I don't need that donkey figure.
Right. Yeah.
It's a neat art piece, but I don't want it in my house. Kind of
exactly.
Deal.
Yeah.
But for something that is truly like, oh man, like that's awesome. Like I would totally take that, like that kind of deal.
Right.
Those you register that, and it's like the next time you're out by yourself, you're like, all right, like, hey, I remember they said that. Okay. There you go. And that sort of brings that element of surprise where it's like they told you something without you having to have a list for it. So
right.
Yeah.
You're listening you don't have to, you're not asking questions. You're just listening to what they're saying.
Right.
It's again, more communication,
which I think is sort of a lost art for some people. And I think that even as men, like we really struggle with that a lot of times. And if you're a stay-at-home dad, like you constantly have kids in your ears. And then, when you're out with your spouse or whatever, and they mention something, depending on if you've still got that ringing in your ears from the kids, you might not hear that very well. And so kind of being in the moment is, I guess, another way of putting it is like, being with your spouse, partner in the moment when you're out and listening for those things, whether it be a gift or whether it be, maybe just how they're feeling about something or whatever. Like it's important to be able to snatch that up and be like, like this is a key moment type of deal. And that's something that, I don't know. I see guys talk about that a lot in the group, and and there's some great conversations that happen out of it. And so hopefully, that sparks guys to be able to be like, okay, like ding, bell goes off. Like, how can I go about this? So, That's the one thing I've really been enjoying lately too, by the way, is just the conversations that have been going on in the closed group. I posted either yesterday or today, Ben Killoy, he posted like, what's your
Got
kind of
dad
like
goals.
dad goal for 2022? And he had posted it like personally, and it was getting a little bit of traction. I'm like, we can get this some more traction. And it like really has built like a pretty amazing conversation piece for guys to put out some pretty interesting things. I think a lot of us probably fall in line with the one guy that I saw. It was like, just try not to be an ass to my kids, like,
Right.
like,
right.
Yep.
Try to leave my kid with more positive memories of me than negative memories.
Exactly. And I think that's something that we all strive for, honestly. So like, that was the thing. Like everybody kind of jumped in and was like, yep, right there on board with you, man. And and I felt like Ben did a good job of jumping in and be like, well, what does that look like? And I mean, he's a dad coach. I mean, the guy, like the stuff that he's putting out there, honestly, like when he talks to people, like that's just free knowledge he's putting out there versus like, what he would charge somebody to actually maybe do a coaching session. And so I love that he interacts with everybody in the group when stuff like that gets put out there. So hopefully that continues, because it's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, it's, I'm excited for what's to happen, like for the end of this year and coming into next year. I think I'll hold off maybe till next week, and we'll do actual conversation about like what we're looking forward to for 2022 and that kind of thing. Because that way we get another fun episode out of it. And hopefully everybody that's listening to this episode, like, they have a happy holidays, have a Merry Christmas.
Very much so.
Hopefully it's full of lots of memories and good times. And if it involves like going into a room and having to cry a bit because emotions are high because, loss of family or friends or whatever it is over the past year or two, hey, it's okay, and I hope that, you have coping mechanisms and ways to like move through that, and, have people to reach out to. Like I said, Danny and I are always only just a message away. For most of you can find us on Facebook. We're all, a lot of the listeners are friends of ours. So please like send us a message.
If you don't want to reach out to me, I've got a bunch of people I reach out to, so I'll give you their names.
Yeah. And if you're not somebody that's friends with us, like, we have the Anchor account for you to be able to reach out to us on. You can reach out to us on email at podcast@athomedad.org. And both Danny and I get that. So we'll see that as well. But I really hope you guys, everybody listening, has a wonderful holiday. And it's been a pleasure to just share time with everybody online. And I always share getting to hang out with Danny every single time that we get to. We jumped on at the beginning of the night, and I was like, "Oh man, I've missed you so much," because we hadn't seen each other in like 2 weeks because we've both been sick. So
and we're both feeling like crap. I don't know if I think you're still feeling like crap tonight too, but I know I am. But
I'm a lot better than what I was. So.
Right. But getting on, I'm like, as soon as I'm like, okay, push the button. I said, hey, what's up?
Right.
I just feel better immediately. Yeah.
Oh, I needed the distraction, man. That was the thing. I was like, I need this distraction. Like this is good. So yeah.
Agreed.
Cool. Well, until next time.
Merry Christmas, Brock. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Tell Corey and the kids. Your kids don't know me. Tell Corey at least. Merry Christmas from the Mercers.
Definitely.
And to everyone else too. Hope everyone has a wonderful new year.
Tell Marnie Merry Christmas as well from me and Corey. So hopefully next year we can all get together and Zoom again and chat it up. So,
that'd be great.
All right, man. Well, to everybody else, have a good day, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
All right. Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.